Today we have a lot of stuff that we need to bounce off of real quick. I do want to tell you that I have some notes, and I also want to let you know that we will be going live right after this on Marfoogle TV, our sister channel. So first off, we have earthquakes basically popping up all over the West Coast. Now, as you guys know, I have been watching this for years. I am on the West Coast. I have done a lot of research into Cascadia subduction zone and everything around it. I've talked to some of the experts like Chris Goldfinger. Of course, he is one of the top scientists, and in fact, has Netflix, or I'm sorry, TED Talks regarding it, basically talking about the risks and how unprepared the West Coast is. And right now we have actual swarms going off from yesterday into today. So I've got some official notes here. And then again, we'll cover this and more on the next show. Also, we're going to be talking about Senator Roger Wicker making a statement that is very alarming about nuclear weapons and a first strike capability. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. As far as the earthquakes, there was basically a whole group of these earthquakes that happened off of the earthquake, off of the West Coast here. Hold on, let me get this loaded. And let's see here. So 50 different earthquakes at least happening. And now we have Tennessee and other states actually rocking right now. And of course, to watch anything like this, as far as earthquakes go, it seems like there's almost seasons in this. This is something that is very alarming because obviously anyone on the West Coast knows that when we do get that 9.0 earthquake, it's going to be an absolutely horrific thing. In fact, Chris Goldfinger says that places like Washington are not even to a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10 in preparedness. As far as these earthquakes and what is happening right now, they're in a very specific spot. It is a spot that we've been looking at for years. Again, I couldn't pull up my script, so I'm just going to go off of what I do know. As far as I went to places like Moclips, where I ran into a DoD official building. That's where I ended up talking to a DoD official. And one thing that he told me that I don't believe the public knows about, or at least the public there doesn't know about, is that was this place in Moclips on a 120-foot cliff. That was actually going to be the town of Moclips evacuation point. What he told me is that is no longer true, and because of this. Because of how the water is out in the out off of the coast of Moclips, it basically has a lip. So as a 9.0 earthquake causes a guaranteed tsunami and it cracks and it shoots this wall of water up, it's then going to come in, and then as it comes in shoreline, it's going to hit this lip and it's going to go even higher. So, they were talking about anywhere from 30, 60, 90 feet waves on the higher end. He said that they're now saying that it would be 150 feet in some places, that making their 120-foot cliff not safe for the town of Moclips. Not only that, since just last year, in fact, as of the speaking when I talked to him last summer, they had just put in a 24-hour monitoring station at this DoD property, and that one of the local actual geological stations was monitoring it 24/7. And the reason why is because it was such a sensitive area that if something happens there, the whole thing is just going to go under. It was built on limestone, and it was built on something that was basically part of it was not stable. So they're watching it because there's a lot of really important high-ranking members of the military that actually go there. It's one of the places that they go for vacations. If you have a military vacation, you go to this place. And it is the future site of a possible radar. They're still arguing over that. So as far as 150-foot wave is way higher than anybody has publicly talked about. I don't think that even Chris Goldfinger and others have talked about the possibility of a 150-foot wave, but that is what they are actually looking at right now. As far as monitoring it, we have basically they're taking it up a notch, and now they're putting sensors all over the Northwest. With these smaller earthquakes that are happening and larger, in fact, they range from 3 to 5.8 and all of these different earthquakes, this is a time that everybody needs to have their stuff together. On top of everything that's going on politically and in the world, now we have shaking off of the coast. And, some people have said, which thing's going to happen first? It seems like things are all going to happen at the same time. So now moving on to Senator Roger Wicker. This was pretty alarming as far as what he said. So let me show you what I do have notes on this that I can pull up. It says Senator mentions nuclear strikes when asked about possible U.S. action against Russia. The senator, who sits on the Senate Armed Service Committee, casually suggested that the U.S. could enter a massive ground war with Russia in defense of Ukraine as Russia troops are massing near the country's border. It says Senator Roger Wicker made the comments during an evening interview with Fox News host Neil Cavuto. He made clear that he was ruling out nothing as a possibility for use in defense of Ukraine's sovereignty. It says Mr. Cavuto, however, had not mentioned nuclear weapons at any point during his questioning. During his remarks, which echoed others he made on CNN, Mr. Wicker said that the U.S. policy is to keep all options on the table when the potential for military conflict arises, including the use of nuclear weapons. It says, quote, well, military action could mean that we stand off with our ships in the Black Sea and we rain destruction on Russian military capability. It says it could mean that we participate, and I would not rule out, he said twice, that American troops on the ground, do you know, we don't rule out first use nuclear action. So he's basically saying that they are not only talking about this, he sits on these boards where they're currently talking right now about all of these things going on, and they're basically saying this is not ruled out and it's on the table. If any of this stuff that is true that is going around on the back end that our DEFCON level has raised, as far as the huge deployments that are going on underneath, the guise of all of this stuff, again, I said monitor for deployments. I'm going to call something right now. One thing that I believe is that soon we'll either find out or we will see larger deployments, and I believe specifically to Europe or around there. And then we also do have comments from officials saying that that is a possibility if Russia invades. Now, the timeline on this is very short. And that timeline, again, is not set by a YouTuber. That timeline is set by Intel based on information from U.S., Ukrainian government, and other world governments. So this is a pretty big deal. As far as the timing of everything, it's all lining up with everything else. China, its commercial and military response as far as the stuff that they're doing in South China Sea, the stuff that they're watching by satellite, everything is ramping up. Now, most people want to say that it's all going to come to a point and then come back down. What experts and military analysts and active and retired military think right now is that this is the very end of decades long of a plan that has been in place for a very long time. China has basically turned around. We have some of the biggest companies like BlackRock, which you probably gave money to. BlackRock runs almost everybody's 401k and all these retirement plans. BlackRock has been just pushing and throwing money into China investments when everybody else in the world is saying this is a bad idea, that's a national security threat, it's all sorts of things. It's almost like some companies are possibly in on it and they're putting all the money into China, and that money went to fund all of their military advantages. It went in to fund why all of our experts and our Pentagon people are saying that we are now behind them in AI and certain technologies. Not only that, they have made a hypersonic space vehicle, a FOBS, fractal orbital bombardment system. Basically, this system is more advanced than anything that anyone has ever seen. They said it was defying physics. It is a hypersonic vehicle that can then launch things at hypersonic speeds. It basically defies everything that we know. So if they're that ahead and somehow we fell behind, we either have to depend on that the U.S. has some secret stash of just absolutely insanely advanced weaponry. And we also have to depend on the fact that China knows that. China might still take action if they don't know about the secretive stuff we have. You have Russia and China both developing these space weapons and stuff to take out satellites. And yesterday we had AWS go down. Amazon Web Services, which is now used to run a ton of military stuff, including DoD, CIA. Some people, I would love for anybody to go to that video and look at all the people that said that they were affected by that. You don't have to believe me. Go to the comments under the AWS, DoD, CIA video went down, and you'll see that people said that essentially everything from pharmacies to their work, their corporations, their systems were down. So it was a big effect. I saw some comments saying, well, I was in Tennessee and my internet worked fine. Unfortunately, it was not fine for military agencies, for huge companies that actually run infrastructure. So again, I think that was a very targeted hack. I don't know if they were trying to get in and see what we were doing. I don't know if again, they're not calling it a hack. The official narrative, I don't even think they have given us an update on it. But AWS basically runs everything. So to kind of sum up, West Coast should definitely be on alert. You don't have to be panicked, but again, with earthquakes off the West Coast in that specific area, with the Cascadia subduction zone, the Marfoogle plate, as far as everything that is going on off of the West Coast, this is something that all experts say that you absolutely need to watch. Already, most of you, if you're on the West Coast, doesn't matter if you're from California all the way up to Canada, you should have a go bag or some sort of preparement for the coming tsunami. When I did go to FEMA Region 10, the security guard and somebody who actually has clearance, he basically said that every member that goes into FEMA Region 10 has a bug out bag in their car just in case they have to leave from work. They all have 4 registered routes to go anywhere and everywhere. Same with the coordinator, the liaison that coordinates the military and the FEMA response. 4 calculated routes. And that says to me that, of course, with civilians that don't even have 1 calculated route, that we are way behind. Not only that, one thing that was very alarming that he said, and that was at the FEMA Region 10 headquarters, and this was the shocking part of that video a couple years ago, was that he said that we absolutely 100% will have to get help from out of state. We didn't have the power, the manpower, the food, the supplies, nothing is there. So I guess the main point of this is don't depend on anyone else for your safety and your family surviving any kind of natural disaster. You're going to have to depend on yourself. You're going to have to be the matriarch or the patriarch of your family, and you're going to have to get things lined up. Anyone in this field and anyone who analyzes any kind of media knows that this is something that a lot of people are just not paying attention to. So anyways, we are going to be live on Marfoogle TV. If you guys do want to support us in any way, go over to marfooglenews.com. Not only is there a plethora of free information there, there is a bibliography with all of my sources. Dex is back. We're going to do an official professional show over on Marfoogle TV. Again, that is normally a 2-hour live show over on that channel. So again, to get there, all you have to do is go to the link down below. Go to marfooglenews.com. You'll see that we have bibliographies for all of the information. As far as Senator Roger Wicker, again, we're not, people have said different things for years, but it normally didn't line up with the rest of the world lining these things up. Basically, the planets are aligned for a conflict, and people don't want to admit it. And a lot of people say that it's fear-mongering or it's scary. Life is scary. And anyone who has grown up and gotten out of their parents' house, the entire world is scary. You're either afraid or you're prepared, period. And if you're still saying this is fear-mongering, then you're not prepared, because you shouldn't be afraid. You should be confident in what you are doing. By the way, anybody who ends up supporting, I will make sure to shout you out on the other channel. I apologize that I didn't get to those. But anyways, I'll be over on Marfoogle TV in just a few minutes. I have everything loaded. You will see the notification on Twitter. Make sure to follow at Marfoogle. Again, watch for big deployments to Europe, to Germany. Uh, watch for those. Again, and then also watch the apps. I have Dex add one of the apps that you can follow earthquakes, and you can get alerts right on your phone when these things happen. Either way, West Coast. If you don't know about Cascadia subduction zone, Google it. You need to really read the really big one by the New Yorker. That was the one that went viral. Nobody knew about it before that article, and again, that was featuring Chris Goldfinger, who I've interviewed personally. Uh, it was very eye-opening to talk to him. So, again, you guys have a great night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.